can NATO survive without the US? Right now they can't.
To you by Brilliant. NATO is currently facing perhaps its most significant set of crises in the military alliance's 75-year history. As if a war on its doorstep was not enough, the very future of NATO is now in. Donald Trump has long accused the US's European allies of being free riders.
Wasn't there a video with Macron? Something happened with Macron. One sec. Something happened. It was in the news everywhere. I didn't fully pay attention, but something happened here. I need it in English.
Do you think that Ukraine should give up a part of its territory?
Well, we're going to see. It's a negotiation that's just starting, and you know they've been fighting, and there's been a lot of land that's been taken. So we'll have to see how that works out. That's part of the negotiation. I will say there was great unity in that room today. You know, we were via Skype or whatever, but it was great, tremendous unity today in that room with the other countries. I was very impressed by it.
Territory is back. Can they take it back? What they lost in the past years?
Trump said we can't call Putin a dictator and Macron was silent. I think that's not true. Macron was like smiling. I think you're fake newsing a bit. Macron showed great balls. Let's watch. I think you're wrong. Macron showed balls.
That's not an easy thing
what I read.
to do,
Let's see.
is it? Right? It's not an easy, you know, he's asking whether or not
Shut up, Kikos, you retard.
you can take back the land that they lost. And I say that, yeah, perhaps some of it, yeah, I hope so. But that's not an easy thing to do.
But not everything.
NATO without the US has no nukes. Doesn't France and UK have nukes?
It's going to be something we're talking about.
Will you convince Vladimir Putin to accept European troops as peacekeeper? Will you think?
Yeah, he will accept that.
He will accept.
I've asked him that question.
You talk to him?
I've asked him that question.
Is France going to lift the block on the...
Because he's not, look, if we do this deal, he's not looking for more war. He doesn't mind, but I've specifically asked him that question. He has no problem with it.
Is France going to lift the block on the $1 billion in frozen Russian assets in Belgium? France has opposed unfreezing it to pay Ukraine and compensate the U.S. for its support. Is France going to lift its opposition to that?
This is, I mean, we speak about frozen assets. We already used them to back precisely the loans negotiated at the G7. And it's part of the sanctions, so it will depend on the follow-up of the discussions. But clearly, we respect international law. It's just frozen assets now. You can take the proceeds of the frozen assets, but you cannot take the assets themselves because it's...
He's so French, his wife is a dude. Can we just fucking listen to him for 1 second without you shitting on him? Dude, you're looking at this scene with Trump and Macron, and all of chat shits on Macron. You see a fucking issue with that? You feel a bit like... What the fuck is wrong with you people? Jesus.
Not respecting international law, and we want to respect international
How is
law.
one different than the other? You can take the proceeds from it, how can you not?
Because it's very different. You keep the assets, you take the proceeds because they are paralyzed in a certain way. You take the proceeds during the wartime, but you keep the assets, and it's part of the negotiation at the end of the war. Because, I mean, this war costed all of us a lot of money. And this is the responsibility of Russia, because the aggressor is Russia. So at the end of the day, this frozen asset should be part of the negotiation, all in all.
Will France support the U.S. being compensated?
I support the idea to have Ukraine first being compensated because they are the one to have lose a lot of their fellow citizens and being destroyed by these attacks. Second, all of those who paid for could be compensated, but not by Ukraine, by Russia, because they were the one to aggress.
Again, just so you understand,
He's showing balls. Why is chat shitting on him? He's standing up for himself and saying his... Also, these comments in chat sometimes.
so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money. To be clear, we have 230 billion frozen assets in Europe.
Oh, he's like, I'm gonna nuke France. This man, I'm gonna assassinate him. Frankly, Macron was never my friend.
Russian assets, but this is not as a collateral of a loan because this is not our belonging.
He's dead.
So they are frozen. If at the end of the day, in the negotiation we will have with Russia, they're ready to give it to us. Super.
Look, he can't stop smirking after that, man.
It will be loan at the
This
end
hurt
of the
him.
day, and Russia would have paid for that.
If you
This is my
believe
wish.
that, it's okay with me. But they get their money back, and we don't, and now we do. But, you know, that's only fair.
Today I read a headline that now Zelensky is willing to make a mineral deal. Which, to be honest, I tried to be centric and not shit on Trump so much, which is, if it's true, I haven't seen it yet, but Trump is very clever with that. You shit on Zelensky first, which, again, is not cool. You're literally destabilizing the West there. But he's like, Zelensky, you're gonna fucking die. Give me your minerals. And then, okay, we're giving you the minerals, which he gets what he wants, right? But still, you can't put the entire safety of the Western world on jeopardy for this kind of negotiation technique. It's almost blackmail. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. 50% of minerals or some shit. He's getting free sifts now. Extortion. That's just not okay, man.
We're negotiating,
but he's reaching his goal.
And everything's on the table, and we'll see if we can get some land back, and we'll see about a lot of different things. And we're going to be making a little speech and say a few words in a little while. We're going to have another meeting, a luncheon meeting, and we'll see you in about 2 hours. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
You've listened to Hoy all the time. It's a video game, my friend.
Thank you very much.
A fascinating end to that meeting there in the Oval Office as...
Okay, let's keep going.
That don't pay their fair share when it comes to military spending. And Trump's defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, recently said that Europe cannot assume that the US presence on the continent will, quote, last forever.
Macron is an idiot and destroyed France. What did he do? What did he do? What did he do? I'm a streamer. I'm a streamer, and a guy in my chat said Macron is an idiot and destroyed France. Can you name certain things Macron did that would how's English that would how to say that would actually make that comment a good comment? Macron is a polarizing figure in France, blah blah. Here's a few reasons why you can criticize him. Macron pushed through a highly unpopular pension reform in 2023, raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. We Germans have 67, man. He did this without the parliamentary road, using constitutional loophole. Not okay, but doesn't mean he's like the worst guy ever, man. The Yellow Vest protest started due to rising fuel taxes, but escalated into a broader anti-Macron movement, criticizing the police favoring the wealthy. Oh, okay. It's not good. It's not good. Under Macron, many French citizens have felt that wages haven't kept up with inflation. That's the whole world, though. His tax policies, such as abolishing the wealth tax... Okay, he's an idiot. Okay. You win. Okay. He's terrible. Okay, he's actually terrible. Thank you, Red and Crown. He's actually terrible. Okay. You win. I fact-checked it, though. Sorry, I'm fact-checking. 1K viewers at 12, man. Politics streams, doing great.
So in this video, we're going to explore how Trump could
sounded like every president in Europe, though, right?
And NATO, and whether the alliance could survive without the US.
Puts on 2 speed, no hate, but I'm banning everyone who asks for higher speed. Fuck this TikTok bullshit. I'm going to be nice to you with a 10-minute ban, but fuck this shit, man. Fuck all you TikTok brain retards.
Explore which world leaders are winning and which are losing every week with our podcast, The World Leader Leaderboard. Find it on the TLDR Podcast YouTube channel or in your favourite podcast app. Now, there are a number of ways that Trump could upend NATO. The most dramatic and disruptive move would obviously be if Trump were to fully withdraw from the alliance, something that he has floated before, and something that his former national security advisor, John Bolton, thinks is highly probable he will attempt. However, others view Trump's flirtation with the US's withdrawal as merely a bluff. It's also worth pointing out that there are some guardrails against unilateral withdrawal. In 2023, Congress approved legislation prohibiting any president from unilaterally leaving NATO. However, the legislation isn't airtight, and Trump may try to just ignore it. Regardless, Trump wouldn't have to pull out of NATO to significantly shake it up and force it into becoming a primarily European alliance. After all, he could attempt what you might call a soft withdrawal from NATO. In other words,
I I tried to do that, but she still got pregnant.
Undermining or withdrawing US support for alliance in all but name. Trump could, for example, declare that the US would not abide by NATO's Article 5, the foundation of NATO's commitment.
Then why would you still be in it? That makes no sense. You signed a contract. You're part of NATO. Get out or don't. Yeah, there are certain articles we don't like. What the fuck?
Commitment to collective defense, which...
Let me soft withdrawal from the German criminal law code, man. I just like, you know, if I steal a chocolate bar... I just feel like I did a soft withdrawal from the German law, if that's okay with you.
States that an attack on any NATO member state should be considered an attack against them all. Trump has previously undermined Article 5, claiming last year that he would not protect NATO allies that didn't meet their spending targets from attack, and would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want, as well as stating more recently that NATO troops deployed in Ukraine as part of any peacekeeping contingent would not be covered by Article 5. Trump could also strain Article 5 by just refusing to react to a border case of Russian aggression, like...
Dude, this is why I want to never stream in my life ever again. Pavela 4563. Invade Baltics, 32 countries. Invade Moscow, okay. Or Trump, 31. This right here makes me want to go back to university, get a degree, and have a normal life. What the fuck?
Like, say, some sort of escalated hybrid warfare attack on a Baltic state. Because once there's some sort of obvious internal disagreement over when Article 5 actually applies, it'll lose some of its deterrence effect. Alternatively, or additionally, Trump may also pursue a soft withdrawal by pulling out tens of thousands of American troops from Europe, something that European officials are reportedly worried will likely happen. Fears of a troop withdrawal are highest on NATO's eastern flank.
The thing is, we now know that Trump is a Russian agent, right? So everything he does is predictable and pro-Russian. We have to prepare for that. Krasnov, right? Comrade Krasnov.
The Baltic states, for example, where the presence of US forces is a key part of the alliance deterrence against potential Russian expansionism. Trump could, for example, start by withdrawing the 20,000 American troops that Joe Biden sent to Europe after Russia invaded Ukraine. And this alone would amount to a 20% reduction in the total number of US troops.
Or maybe pay your 3%. It was 2%. And I think most are paying now. You're wrong. Let me fake news you real quick. I think you're very, very wrong. I think you're very, very wrong. Whereas per country, I think you're very, very wrong. Everyone is now paying. Yeah, you're fake news. No one cares about these retards. It's Italy though, you know. Most are paying now. Where's Germany? 2.12. Yeah. It was 2%, not 3%.
On the continent. Ultimately, whatever Trump's exact approach to NATO is, doesn't make
Canada
a huge difference to the simple fact that the US no longer wants to be the primary security guarantor to Europe, and that it's up to Europe to take charge of its security. So how would a US-free NATO actually fare? Well, there are some reasons to be optimistic. For starters, NATO excluding the US still counts for more than 1.5 million active military personnel, beating its most obvious adversary, Russia, which last year set the 1.5 million mark as its new target. Additionally, the collective capability of European NATO members
Never forget though, one NATO soldier is like 10 Russian soldiers. We saw that in Ukraine.
The outstrips
they have like a 1 to 8
forces
KD or
were
some
working
shit.
with when they managed to halt and push back Russia's advances in the early stages of the invasion. Europe also has a well-established defense industry producing some of the most advanced weapon systems around, with half of the top 10 global arms exporters being European NATO members. On top of this, spurred on by Trump's first term, and more importantly, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, non-US NATO members have begun to ramp up their defense spending. In fact, as of last year, a record 23 of 32 NATO members were meeting or surpassing the 2% target, up from just 3 members a decade prior.
I like how we just looked at a report and it said 17% and his says 23. Thank you, old no say.
The point we're making is that despite some of the more fatalistic prognosis of the total collapse of the continent's security should the US leave the European theatre, Europe actually has a pretty strong base. However, this does mask some of the more significant problems that would need addressing. For starters, while European countries have pledged to increase defense spending, it'll take time before this money actually translates into troops.
Especially in
tanks.
Germany, man.
The fragmentation of Europe's defense industry, with individual nations naturally wanting to push their own domestic industries, also creates enormous inefficiencies, delays, and high maintenance costs. On top of this, many of Europe's militaries, the UK being a prime example, are struggling to meet their recruitment targets. According to the IISS, since 2015, Europe has hardly increased the number of combat battalions, or in the UK's case, has actually cut 5. This is in stark contrast to the 300,000 new soldiers that the continent would need to recruit to defend itself without US support, according to calculations by Bruegel and the Kiel Institute. The US's withdrawal would also leave other significant gaps, with the most obvious relating to nuclear weapons. If Trump were to pull back the US nuclear umbrella from Europe, NATO would lose what it is called its supreme guarantee of the security of the alliance. Of course, both France and the UK are nuclear-armed states, but only have a fraction of the warheads that Russia or the US have.
I don't get that argument. Who cares if you have 200 or 5,000 nukes? Buddy, it's still a massive deterrence threat, dude.
Nor do they have any tactical nuclear weapons. Less dramatic than nuclear weapons, but
I was just thinking the other day, if I was Zelensky, you know what I would do? I would be a Bond villain. If I was Zelensky, I will try to somehow get a nuke, like you buy it in Iran, right? And then you do, like there's a movie with Tom Hanks and Nicolas Cage, and they're sneaking a nuke somewhere under Moscow. And then Zelensky goes, Vladimir Putin, I have a nuke on Moscow, bitch. And then we're all fine, it's safe, and it's just like, every nation on Earth should have a nuke in the other guys' capitals. So if anyone goes crazy, they just do the capital button. You know? Genius. I shall lead the world.
Critical to NATO's ability to act is the US's role as the alliance strategic enabler.
I just figured it all out.
As various analysts have pointed out, the US is NATO's primary provider of airlift capabilities, air-to-air refueling, high-altitude air defense, space assets, and operational intelligence. These are things that are necessary to deter and, if needed, defeat a major...
Why do you hate on Russia?
Major power aggressor, according to 3 leading military experts.
As long as I keep this, said my girlfriend will keep loving me.
Thank you, Spademaster. Tomorrow I will make a short out of your shorts, and the first ever short on the main channel. I'm thinking about you, buddy.
Critical to sustaining operations beyond the opening phase of a conflict. European countries clearly need a robust plan, sustained over a decade, to strengthen their ability to defend Europe with less America, according to Camille Grand from the European Council on Foreign Relations. In the short term, Bruegel's analysis suggests that the continent...
What I never understand is, if we look at overall GDP of everyone, doesn't Euro's GDP utterly crush Russia? Like, crush him. Russia GDP 2 trillion, and the EU has like... How will I see the EU? How much did the EU have? The EU had like... I need something to show the EU. I don't fucking know, but you know what I mean, right? Dude, we're crushing Russia. What the fuck is the problem? Do certain reforms, make some commercials so people join. We have the technology. Just fucking get it done. What the fuck are we so afraid of Russia, man? Jesus Christ.
Will need to spend an additional 250 billion
20
euros a
trillion.
year, roughly doubling collective defense spending
trillion,
to around 3.5%
17
of
trillion.
GDP.
The fuck's
the natural question then is, how can Europe fund this? Joint EU borrowing.
How can we fund this? Buddy, we have 17 trillion and we can't have a little army? How is this possible? You gotta be fucking shitting me. I don't understand it. I don't get it. We're so fucking rich and we can't have like 1,000 airplanes? The fuck?
In the vein of the COVID recovery fund could play an important
all
part
in welfare.
And it's something we discussed in a recent video,
man.
which we've linked in the description. Defragmenting the European defence landscape could also reduce costs too, and the EU could relax its spending rules to allow national governments to borrow more for defence without risking being in breach of EU rules. However, it still leaves European governments across the continent in a difficult position, prioritising defence spending by hiking taxes or borrowing more, while at the same time slashing spending in other areas will, for many people, be unpalatable to say the least. Now, the thing is, often in politics, we need to understand a wide variety of topics to truly grasp what...
You see, in every video we watch, I just always feel the number one thing that would really help us Europeans is to find our balls. To find our fucking balls, man. Yeah, we have one last video about Europe.
Road for Chancellor Olaf.
There are weeks where
One last Europe video, and then we have some American stuff to look at. Here at TommyKay News, man. How you doing, man? How you doing? Tesla sales are going down in Europe. Who will buy Tesla and support that fascist scumbag? Hassan Abi videos suck. You only got a German communist streamer to talk. I'm the new Hassan on Twitch. I'm better than Hassan and Asmongold. I will take over now. I will take over Twitch as the number one political streamer. Share it with your friends. Let's get to 10K viewers and show the world. We now have a real European, central, democracy-loving streamer now. Okay, come on, guys. Give me the views. Thank you, Attacker Stern. The first political streamer with a brain, man. Let me take down my title. The EU Hassan Abi. Let's see how many viewers that gets. I'm the EU Hassan Abi. There we go.
Of Schultz, he'll most likely be replaced by this man, Friedrich Merz.
Video and then
the Conservatives are celebrating in Germany tonight after exit polls put them on course for
I'd rather be buried in the ground before the main political streamer for Europe is a ginger. Rainy, who do you watch? You have fucking VTubers? Fucking little hentai girls? Who do you watch? You have a cat profile picture, buddy. Okay? Who are you gonna lead, buddy? Fucking piece of shit. I wish I could still check your Twitch accounts. Back in the day, I could check your accounts, and I could see that you follow only hentai girls. But then they turned that off because of all the bullying, bro.
Friedrich Merz is the man expected to be the next chancellor.
Germany has just held an election, but this is no
This is where, you know, I'm very centrist, right? I'm very left-wing, but sometimes I'm still a bit of a Nazi, okay? Every time I see a map of Germany, I get sad. We used to be so much better. Hitler's such an idiot, man. We were so big, bro. We could have had so much more GDP. If Hitler just fucking didn't do this bullshit, we could have been so much bigger. So I said that to balance myself a bit, okay?
Election. The shadow of the Ukraine-Russia war, Donald Trump's pressure on Europe and economic tensions with China.
A German looking at
pushing
Poland.
Berlin to the centre of the global chessboard. Now Germany must reshape its European defence, its arms aid to Ukraine, its stance towards
China's
Russia.
very quiet lately. There's no news from China.
With China.
It's creepy, man. They're just
All
like
this,
watching.
Not to mention domestic economic difficulties, coalition tensions, and pressure from rising far-right parties. In this context, it remains to be seen how Germany will fare as both Europe's leading country and a global actor.
You can see what the channel follows? Oh, wait, I can? I think they turned that off. Wait, one sec. Where is that guy? Rain? I can't find him anymore. Where is he? Rain? I can't find him anymore. I lost him. I'm here. I think they turned that off. I thought they turned that off. Okay. Dicker, am I always right? Am I the most intelligent human being on Earth? Buddy, am I always correct? You can't make this up. You cannot make it up. It's time you people bow down to me. It is time. It is time. You accept I'm superior. Buddy, I'm destroying these kids so hard, man. Fuck you, Lego. I don't want to see that. I probably need to see a doctor after I do that. Come on, people. Jesus, bro.
So
that
what
was
does
way
Friedrich
too easy.
Merz, the winner of the election, stand for in this ring of fire?
I like how politicians in Germany always look like law professors. If you ever go to law school, everyone in law school looks like this. If you've ever been to law school, yeah.
Open the door to victory for Ukraine, or
Dude,
will he seek a compromise with Putin?
This is a
and
terrible
how will this election
resolution.
affect Europe's security architecture? Friedrich Merz, the leader of the Christian Democrats who came first in the German elections, shed some light on these questions. Mr. Merz's statements were mostly about the Ukraine-Russia war.
Gucken Sie sich die Bilder an, Frau Weidel.
And that got my respect. So this was the last debate, I think, before the election. And this is Weidel, which is like straight up Heil Hitler and pro-Russia. And he fucking told her. He fucking made a little speech telling her to shut the fuck up, you piece of shit. And that got my respect a bit.
Und schauen Sie sich die Menschen in der Ukraine an. Sie haben hier gerade einen sehr verräterischen Satz gesagt. Wir würden von Russland nicht mehr als neutral wahrgenommen. Nein, Frau Weidel, wir sind nicht neutral.
That got my respect. It's just words for now, but that got my respect. He's saying, like, we're not neutral, we're pro-Ukraine, you piece of shit.
Mr. Mertz's statements give the strongest signals of victory for Ukraine and emphasize that Vladimir Putin's
what the fuck is that picture?
ambitions are over. So how can the new German leader influence the war in Ukraine? What do the German election results mean for the US and the EU? For answers to these questions and more, our video begins. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and give us a like to stay up to date with our content. The Ukraine-Russia war was one of the most critical chapters in Germany's foreign policy. Germany is one of the most important supporters of Ukraine in Europe and has provided over 11 billion euros in military aid.
Zelensky aged a lot. Buddy, imagine you're leading a country that's under the threat of fucking being annihilated, man. That must be very stressful. And this is something where I respect Zelensky. I know you guys always, oh, Zelensky is so evil and bad. Buddy, who could do that? Who could fucking do that, man? Show a little tiny bit of respect. Joe Biden said, I'm flying you out. You can take all your money and live in fucking Florida. He's like, no, I'm fucking staying here. And everybody is trying to assassinate you. And he's fucking staying and says, Trump, I'm stepping down if you let us join NATO, bro. Show a bit of fucking respect. Little tiny bit. I never understand that when we talk about politics, that you have these random kids in chat that can't do 10 push-ups. Ah, he's a fucking traitor. He's a dictator. What the fuck are we doing here? What the hell? It's insanity.
Russia's full-scale invasion began.
He's a judo? Oh, okay. Well, okay, that's a great argument. Okay. That's probably how Russians think. Zelensky is a Jew. He cannot be trusted, man.
Nearly 3 years ago. This is more than any other European country. Germany is second only to the United States in its support for Ukraine.
Don't forget, though, in the statistic, the EU as a whole has given more than the US.
However, this attitude has led to divergent views within Germany. In particular, the rise in energy prices and the deepening
To me, I'm sharing my opinion as the new political streamer on Twitch. To me, Zelensky is the greatest personality of this century. 100%.
Difficulties have led to debates about
so
how
far,
the
the man
aid
of the
to
century.
Ukraine should continue. Now it is time to put an end to these debates. Mr. Mertz said that we are not neutral, we are not standing in the middle, we are on the side of Ukraine. Following these words...
these resolutions, buddy, are you a real YouTuber? No hate, I don't want to be an asshole. I mean, I'm stealing your content, but dude.
Mr. Mertz said that military support
You must have downloaded this footage
continue.
with a very bad converter. Thank you, Womko. Taylor Swift, though? Ah, Taylor Swift is close.
He would support Ukraine's full territorial integrity against Russia. In particular, it is known that long-range Taurus missiles will be delivered to...
Take a look at that shit. That costs so much money. And all it does is go BAM! Alter. Kaboom, Junge.
Ukraine. Mertz criticized Scholz's hesitation, calling it a one-handed...
Alter, look at that thing. That's like a nuke. Ach du Scheiße. Can we see a Taurus missile hit? One sec. Damn, buddy. Taurus missile hit. What the hell does that look like?
Problem solved.
Der Taurus ist ein Flugkörper, wird von Kampfflugzeugen abgeworfen, fliegt rund 500 Kilometer weit, findet und zerstört sein Ziel selbstständig.
That's not even that crazy. We're not sending that? That's like a pretty basic rocket. Why are we not sending that?
Ziel selbstständig.
It's not that bad.
Im Taurus sitzen ein Jetantrieb.
That looks like a... You know when you were a kid, you had these cars, Seifenkisten? These cars to drive down a hill, man? That's what it looks like.
Coalition till Easter. 2 more months of nothing happening here, yay.
Thank you, Libo.
Und der sprengstoffgefüllte, rund 400 Kilo schwere Taurus unterfliegt feindliches Radar in weniger...
Oh, it can be under enemy radars.
50
Damn.
Metern.
It's so funny, man. Every time I study the human race, I always feel like we're so dumb, we can't fix anything. But every time on the stream, we look at military equipment, it's the state of the art. It's so amazing, man. Our military stuff is so good, bro.
Höhe. Der Flugweg ist vorgeplant und im Taurus abgespeichert. Seine Sensoren halten ihn auf Kurs. Das Höhenradar vergleicht Daten mit dem Höhenprofil des Flugwegs. Der Infrarotsensor erfasst markante Wegpunkte wie Brücken oder Flussläufe.
Oh shit, it has like AI that makes him fly on the radar the whole time.
Gegen Bunker steigt Taurus steil aus der Deckung und schlägt mit hoher Bewegungsenergie ein.
That's not the craziest explosion ever. Why are we not sending that? Preis Taurus Rakete. How much is one? I'm saying 1.5 million. 950k, not that bad. We can make a GoFundMe. 950k. Dude, 950k to destroy one house. Jesus. It's very strong because it has crazy penetration. Ah, okay. It has very good penetration. Huh.
Did fight for Ukraine. It is already known that Ukraine has long wanted these missiles. The Taurus Key PD-350 is a German-Swedish cruise missile fired from fighter jets with a maximum range of 500 kilometers. It can travel at a maximum speed of around 170 kilometers per hour and at a height of only 35 meters.
Hell, dude.
This makes it very difficult for radar systems to detect. The Taurus missile will penetrate behind enemy lines more than any long-range Western missile in Ukraine's arsenal, increasing Ukraine's ability to deter Russian aggression and respond effectively to multiple threats. This will give Ukraine a significant advantage in precision targeting and operational flexibility.
Dude.
At first glance, Taurus and Storm Shadow look very similar.
I already know, man. I'm a guy that talks to people in public a lot. I always talk to everyone. If you ever meet me IRL, I will ask you questions. Like yesterday, a viewer know me and I just started talk. And I already know if we send these rockets, I'm going to walk around the neighborhood. I go to the bakery and they're like, oh, this is so evil. Why are we sending rockets? We shouldn't make Putin mad.
They have approximately the
Such
same
a fucking sad rhetoric with these old people. Like Lisa's mom is going to be like, oh no, we shouldn't do this. Oh no.
First, its much greater firing range of 500 kilometers. Second, it has a Mephisto smart warhead system that combines the ability to defeat hard and deeply buried
military stuff has always very cool names, man.
With the ability.
Like you look at Twitch and you're like Nino Urta, Orbit White Bob, but you're Mephisto, Hell Devil Rocket 59, Desert Fox Killer 5, right?
To explode and fragment to destroy high-value point and area targets. Germany has reportedly ordered 600 Taurus missiles. These missiles are enough to have a significant impact against Russian aggression and prevent attacks
Fox
on
Killer 5
Ukrainian
sounds
cities.
like a Twitch name too.
If the Taurus threat prompts Russia to move all of its military assets deeper, beyond the strike range of Germany's missiles, it will still severely impact Russia's combat effectiveness in its attacks on Ukraine's infrastructure. The Taurus missile would force the Kremlin to take greater risks in airstrikes, and aviation is a priceless asset that it cannot afford to lose. So German leader Merz could provide Ukraine with the key to victory. How will Merz deal with...
all due respect, how is 500 rockets like that fixing the war? I don't understand that.
The Russian leader Vladimir Putin. He will certainly have a tougher approach than Scholz. Scholz always kept in mind that he wanted to be a careful supporter of Ukraine, but he did not want to provoke Putin.
They will use it up in 2 weeks.
Did not want to cross red lines.
Destroy logistics? They will just rebuild. Russia doesn't give a fuck, man.
Probably a lot more Scholz could have done. We can expect Merz to do more of these few percentages against Ukraine. The typical conservative West German approach to Russia is tough, and this is where Merz comes from. So who is Friedrich Merz, the man who shook the geopolitical...
To be dead honest, I would like to know more about Merz exactly, like his entire life. Who is this guy really?
Balance.
To be honest, today is a big reaction stream. I kind of like it. I'm feeling it right now. Friedrich Merz explained. I'd like to understand more about him. 2 minutes, 13 minutes. No, I wanna. Can anyone find me a video that like explains his life a bit? Can anyone find me a video like that?
Friedrich Merz is a former lawyer who admires the United States. However, as an ardent defender of Europe and NATO, Merz may find himself at odds with President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Merz is facing increasing pressure on his right. The Alternative for Germany, AfD, a far...
In my opinion, Ukraine should do concessions, peace, and then bulk up militarily. This might be dumb or naive. No, you're actually talking very nicely. I mean, the world is complex. The problem is what Ukraine needs is certain guarantees. If we give away the eastern stuff, can we join NATO? Can we join the EU? That's what's important. Ukraine needs something good out of this. It's still very, very sad. You should never give a fascist country any land, which we saw with Sudetenland, Austria. And then in the end, they even tried to get Danzig, right? And but the world is complex. You might not get a very good peace deal here. But if it means we can actually help Ukraine with joining EU or NATO and build them up and be more ready. The problem is we have to be careful with Russia. What does Russia do? They invade, like Chechnya, wait 10 years. Attack again, wait 10 years. Attack again, wait 10 years. So Russia ain't gonna sleep. Russia will also bulk up again.
I I don't want Ukraine in EU. I do want them in the European Defense Initiative. Replacement once USA leaves of NATO.
I don't want Ukraine in EU. I do want them in the European Defense Initiative. Okay, thank you for the sub. Dude, when the Ukraine war is over, let me tell you, rich people will make infinite money. I'm actually thinking about that myself, because there will be rebuilding funds. There will be certain funds and ETFs that will rebuild Ukraine, and there will be a lot of money making in that shit, man.
Right party with anti-immigration and pro-Russian views has come in second.
Why will them joining EU be bad? I didn't say that. I think it would be a good thing.
Place among voters' growing concerns about immigration and the economy. It was the best performance ever for the party, but it will probably not take part in a government coalition. Other leading parties have refused to partner with the AfD because they consider it too extreme. This means that Merz will have to weave a potentially fragile government coalition, partly together with the current ruling centre-left social...
What I sometimes wonder is when Putin dies, like of old age, what's going to happen in Russia? You would think just a replacement, right? Just some dude.
Democrats.
Hopefully not. Medvedev would be insane. Medvedev would be insanity. That guy is genuinely a Bond villain, dude.
Who took third place. So how can Merz keep the AfD at bay?
Lavrov?
According to Gordon Rapinski, Germany's editor-in-chief and one of the most knowledgeable observers of the country's politics,
Grisha
Merz has to keep the AfD...
Could you imagine like 20 years Grisha as a high-ranking Russian official, and I'm gonna sit here like scared that a rocket is gonna hit me, dude? The good thing is Grisha still says that he I think there was an interview where he says he likes me. He doesn't like how I think, but he still sees me as someone that helped him becoming what he is. So I hope maybe Grisha one day becomes the president of Russia and can send me some hush money, man. That'd be cool. Grisha, if you're watching this, if you send me 1 million, man, bro, I'm gonna have a Russian flag behind me, okay? I'm actually not. I think I won't sell out for that, but 1 million is a lot. That's the problem with oligarchs. They buy you, bro. At what point will you sell your ideals, chat? 5 million? 5 million to be like, yeah, fuck Ukraine. Fuck, it's 5 million. I think I won't take it, but I don't know. Shit. You will all take the 5 million, buddy. You will take the 5 million, my friends. Okay, don't fucking act like that. Okay? Come on, my friends. I do it for $5.
D in check. Important figures in the United States may not support him. Tech giant
There's a weird
Elon
map
Musk,
of the US.
a close associate of Trump, has been an outspoken supporter of the AfD, and Vice President J.D.
What did Böhmermann even say about that? I didn't watch that either. We're gonna watch that next. There's a very, very important guy in Germany that I really, really like, and he actually had a clip in the New York Times, and we're gonna watch that in a second.
D. Vance recently met with its leader. Trump, for his part, seemed to take solace in the fact that Merz's winning alliance was conservative. Writing on social media,
I think Trump has no idea who won the German election. He's like, who is this guy?
But Merz announced a potentially decisive decision on Trump and put Europe's 80-year alliance with the US in the past. Merz said that the Trump administration does not care about Europe and is allying with Russia. The new leader warned that the continent urgently needs to strengthen its defences and potentially even find a replacement for NATO. Merz's remarks mark a historic turning point. They reveal how deeply Trump has shaken the political foundations of Europe, which has been dependent on American security guarantees since 1945.
Your coffee's done? I'm coming, Lisa. Not a coffee,
the formation of a new government in the coming weeks, he will steer...
I need to actually take a painkiller because I had jiu-jitsu yesterday and they choked me so much that I have pain here when I talk, so I gotta take a painkiller. Damn, they always choke me too much. Ugh.
Europe in a radical new direction at a critical time for the security of Ukraine and the wider region. On the other hand, Merz will take Germany in a different direction from that of the current Chancellor Olaf Scholz.
You like it?
By 2021, it may not even resemble the Germany that Angela Merkel, also of the CDU, has led for 16 years. Last month, Merz, with the support of the far-right Alternative for Germany party, pressed the German parliament for new immigration measures. This was a clear departure from Merkel's Wir schaffen das pledge to accept refugees.
Well,
Friedrich Merz is the opposite of Angela Merkel in terms of rhetoric and approach to politics. They have a very special relationship. Friedrich was on the rise in the Conservative Party in the 90s and, in parallel
fuck is that?
with Angela Merkel's rise, he was in a powerful position.
Look at this rich dude, man. He's like wearing a mask. He cut off like a child. He was cutting it off their face, put it on himself. Look at that. What are you trying to hide, man? I can see behind the mask.
As the chairman of the CDU-CSU parliamentary group in the early 2000s.
What did you think of Merkel? Like I said earlier, I think Merkel was very disruptive and destroyed Germany. She did very bad things. She was very stable. She made Germany stable in society ways, but she did insane, crazy mistakes that really did a lot of damage.
At one point, Angela Merkel fired Friedrich Merz from his position as group leader.
And now she was gone, and now she wrote a book. She wrote a book now, and now she just promotes the book. She's everywhere, and she's shitting on all the politicians. And in her book, Böhmermann, he was talking about her book. Her book is all about, I did everything correctly, I did nothing wrong, and yeah, let's calm down with Angela. Maybe it's good that she's gone now. Let her go hiking in
a very
South
angry
Germany.
State, quit politics and followed Angela Merkel's chancellorship from the sidelines. He was very critical of her actions when he ran
Which
for
is
the
not a bad
party
thing.
leadership after.
I don't know, man. I might be very wrong. Again, we're all humans, but I'm starting to have hope for Friedrich Merz. I'm hoping in him a bit. But in 4 years, I might just fully fucking regret that. We need to have a bit of hope, man.
Angela Merkel resigned. He advocated the opposite approach to politics to Angela Merkel.
Which is a good
This
thing.
means a more traditional conservative approach.
Hello, Mr. K. My name is Igor Semyonov, and I'm a representative of Gazprom. We recently heard of your great patriotism to the Great Federation and thus have transferred 5 million rubles. What? That's like $100. Fuck that. That's not enough. $5 million we're talking here, buddy. 5 million rubles. What is that? $120.30?
Whereas Merkel
Jesus,
was
bro,
really
fuck
integrated in the middle, very understanding of her political opponents. Merkel was a politician who
That's
was not
50K
arrogant,
only?
who
Jesus
did not look
Christ.
for unnecessary fights.
Damn.
Whereas Friedrich Merz is one of those people who likes to fight, who likes to make sharp speeches, but who also says
Starting to
things
like
that
him a
may
bit,
not
but
be useful
I don't know
for him
yet.
in the long run.
But
Olaf
someone in chat said something beautiful. If he succeeds, Germany succeeds.
Scholz, like Angela Merkel, is not a very charismatic person. He is someone who always tries to integrate into
Keep
the
it
other
up.
political...
Thank you for the tier 2, my buddy, man. You know that feeling when you have to pull your pants down because your massive dick is about to fall out? I have that all the time.
Party.
See that?
In that
Oh
respect,
no, he was just
they
getting
were
his
quite
phone. He doesn't
similar.
have a big dick.
The difference
Loser.
was that Angela Merkel was humble in her approach and in her non-charismatic appearance, and Olaf Scholz was rather arrogant in his non-charismatic appearance.
Insanity,
In
man.
short, after 2 decades of very timid and very defensive communication, which we saw with
Lovelux is saying another great thing. If the current German chancellor fucks up in these next 4 years, we have a big problem because people will be even more mad about Germany and vote more AfD. It more and more becomes apparent to me in these last days that Friedrich Merz and the 4 years he has now are so goddamn crucial. This is not even a joke. It's very serious stuff. This is very important shit.
Angela Merkel and Olaf Scholz, we are going to witness a big change in terms of political communication. In conclusion, why did Merz's party outperform Scholz's party? What were the main ideological and personal factors
Will you live
behind
under
this?
AfD rule? I think it's very childish to be like, if Trump wins, I'm leaving the country. I'm not gonna fucking leave, dude, you know? But when it starts that they're like building camps and stuff, maybe I shall try to get my visa to the UK, you know? But I don't know if the AfD will rule that. We will have to see what happens. I would watch it. I think what realistically happened is that all the Germans that voted for the AfD would realize, oh, the AfD is actually fixing nothing. Whoa. And then they would lose their mythical status, you know? Would you ever consider joining a political party? I personally believe that we're now getting into a moment in human history where you have to be political. Germany just had the biggest voter turnout since the reunification of, I think, 84%. You cannot deny it anymore. The world is getting more and more political. Everyone talks about it. Everyone has opinions. It's a big thing. And I talk about this very often on the stream here, that with the literal rise of oligarchy, autocracy, and fascism that is truly happening in the US, Russia, everywhere, 20% Germany, it looks like we're reaching a point where every single individual in Europe and North America, including you, my dear viewer, has to make a decision. Do you want to be on the sidelines and just watch and just live your life? Or do you actually, maybe in this one lifetime you have, do something? maybe, like, what else? What is the history books gonna tell about our generation? What is the history books gonna write about you? Are you just like some muppet that lets all this shit happen to you and you do nothing, or are you actually gonna do something? It's a question we have to all ask ourselves. I don't know the answer. The problem is if you join a party, they want 1% of my monthly earnings. And fuck that, bro. What the fuck? I'm not giving you 1%. I'm already giving you 43%. What the hell? But, I mean, I'm obviously making a stand here on the stream, right? Putting myself in a cross line and losing followers that don't like what I'm saying. But I think we're slowly getting into a world where people have to maybe become active and start thinking that being on the sidelines might lead to Mr. Elon Musk having all the data of the US Treasury and doing what he wants. Maybe it's important that we start waking up a little bit. I don't know.
Conservative Party is structurally a little bit stronger than the Social Democratic Party in Germany. If you look at history, most of the years have been with conservative chancellors, and at very specific times.
Oh wow, look at the difference in that vote. Fuck, that's crazy. Olaf Scholz really fucked up, huh? Everyone believed in the SPD and he fucked them all in the ass for 3 years. That fucking bitch. And still, he sits in talk shows now. I watch these political talk shows and they're all... Look at Leipzig, this is where I live. And he's always sitting there, I did nothing wrong, bro. It's all the other people's fault. It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Or with very specific candidates, you had a social democratic majority. So there is a structural advantage for the Conservative Party among the population. But Olaf Scholz also had a very difficult time in government. He was working in a complex coalition with 2 partners, so 3 partners in total, and very different policy approaches. The energy crisis hit Germany very hard, because gas prices were going up so much, and Germany was obviously very dependent on Russian gas. Germany saw a lot of inflation and economic turmoil.
Okay.
This obviously resulted in the population losing confidence in the government.
And a lot of you viewers don't know this if you're not German, but this guy, the Chancellor of Germany, who's now gone, has massive scandals, man. You can Google this stuff. This guy has fucked German people over in the Wirecard and Cum-Ex scandals, where this is very complex. This is why people don't care too much, because this goes over their head. He's involved in very crazy stuff, man. They were doing hearings with him, and he said, I remember nothing. Fucking over taxpayers, over so much money, man. Really fucking deep shit. You gotta Google that stuff. Very fucked up.
And also,
guys should be in prison,
Olaf
bro.
Scholz. We think there is a shift in the political debate in Germany towards harder immigration. All these things that
in Germany we call him, I can't remember, Olaf.
In this
he can't remember.
Friedrich Merz is a candidate who can also satisfy these aspirations or tendencies of the population. Germany has seen many attacks by migrants in the last 12 months, and the population really wants change. What does a Merz-led Germany mean?
And that's the thing where I maybe am a bit more conservative, a centrist Tommy is. If most the population wants a change in immigration, then it needs to happen. That doesn't mean that talking like this makes me a right-wing fascist or AfD lover. If most people want a change in immigration, like over 50%, then that's democracy. Sorry, left-wing people. That is just the world. That's what it is. That's what democracy is. If most people want this, then you gotta do it. You gotta have better border controls and stuff like that. It's just a fact. You could even take away votes from the AfD.
For the EU, 2 days before the election,
Merz
issued
cinnamon
a stern
sandwich.
warning that
I'm
Europe
burping
must
cinnamon.
be ready to defend itself without the US. Merz has promised big, sweeping policies to grow Germany's defence industry and is expected to quickly fulfill his predecessor's promise
Hassan
to lift
said
the
Merz is a
ban
fascist?
on
Send me a
sending
clip. I don't think
long-range
that ever
Taurus
happened, and you're
cruise
lying.
missiles to Ukraine
You always
for
lie.
attacks on Russian targets. A key theme of his first weeks as Chancellor will be to explain how Berlin will raise the money to...
The Danish left did this. They fixed immigration and destroyed the far right. Merz could destroy the AfD by fixing immigration a bit.
Expand the $100 billion fund
Hassan calls
agreed
everyone
by
a
the Scholz
fascist.
government for the renewal of Bundeswehr equipment.
Send me a
and
clip. I never
facilities.
trust you.
This cash has been earmarked and will be spent on large-scale procurement programs until 2027, raising questions about how Berlin plans to meet its obligations to NATO from the traditional national budget. German energy policy in recent years
I don't know who
has
Dick
focused on
Carrident is. I don't know who that
accelerating
is.
investment in renewable energy, shutting down nuclear reactors and outsourcing gas imported from Russia. Merz's CDU has similarly vowed to use renewable energy in perpetuity. But his
Hassan said Henry from Kingdom Come Deliverance is a fascist.
family, the centre-right European People's Party, also opposes the EU's green energy goals. Merz, meanwhile...
He's a big political German streamer. You know what every single political streamer in Germany is like? Like this. Here, this is my representation of German political streamers.
...has taken a warmer stance on nuclear power than Scholz, who is challenging a long-standing German taboo around atomic energy. While the country is unlikely to revive its closed reactors, a more tolerant nuclear stance from Berlin could help pro-nuclear countries persuade Brussels to treat atomic energy like renewables. Merz also said he wants to repeal Germany's hard-fought Building Energy
Robert Habeck,
Act,
you want to come to my stream? Yeah, tomorrow, no problem, thank you.
Clean heating practices.
That's German political streamers, okay? They fucking suck.
Europe.
They got nothing on me. Stop watching these losers.
Would place less emphasis on climate change than Scholz's coalition. In his election campaign, Merz raised concerns about the impact of climate policy on business, vowed to put economic growth above all other concerns
what the
and called
fuck
for
is
the
that stock footage?
rollback of
when was the last time you guys used a real-life calculator?
EU green regulations. But in government, green advocates say they are counting on...
You think I'm lying? Okay, I'm going to really fuck myself in the ass right now. Just chatting Twitch. Okay, we're looking for the first German. The first German we find. Okay, okay. Is he chewing? Oh, I'm close though. I'm very close. I'm very close. He's not chewing though. Let's see if he's gonna say anything. Okay, he says something. Okay. But hey, I was very close. Fuck. I was pretty close, man.
His rhetorical hammer turning into a feather duster. Industry.
He's based. Yeah, no hate to this guy. All the best to him.
Bureaucracy,
no disrespect.
But it also wants coherent policy. Industrial incentives can be used to help companies become greener and more efficient. Merz, like Scholz, wants to delay key corporate sustainability reporting rules to revive Germany's ailing sector. This means that Germany under Merz is almost certain to support a strong simplification bill for green rules. The European Commission is expected to publish this proposal on February 26th. Merz's victory also means that the centre-right European People's Party,
shut up, I talk all the time, suck my
family
balls.
of Merz that dominates the European Parliament,
dude has 80k followers and 4 times viewers. It is hard times for TommyKay, bro.
The EPP has worked hard to water down the EU anti-deforestation rule with the support of groups further to the right. Merz inherits an economy in recession, dragged down further by a crisis engulfing
which is easier to get it back up then
sector.
Again, though.
He is aware of the problems.
I fake news. Hassan did not say Merz is a fascist.
High energy
she
and
has
labor
MILF
costs.
energy. You know what energy Ursula von der Leyen has? She has that energy of actually not disclosing contracts she gave to certain military branches when she was Minister of Defense. She had to actually give her phone back when she lost the Ministry of Defense, but she couldn't find her phone. It was suddenly gone, man. That's the kind of energy she has.
And stiff competition in the electric vehicle transition. But he has been short on details on how he plans to help automakers. In his election speeches, he promised to cut red tape and reduce
all German
high
politicians
costs,
always forget.
But he stopped short of backing reform of Germany's debt brake. This would tie Merz's hands when it comes to financing.
Oh, what is that? Where's that? Is that Bellevue? What is that? What is that? Is that Versailles? I don't know what it is.
Initiatives.
Germany's
car makers are highly dependent on the Chinese market. This has led Scholz to bend to Beijing's wishes. For example, by lobbying against Chinese EV taxes. Merz will take a tougher line against China and has made it clear to car makers that they should not come crawling to him if Asian investments boom. Merz, who wants to take a stronger stance against Russia and China.
Wait, since when is China going that far west? What the fuck?
And rekindle old friendships
with
that's
not the real one. That's one of the clones, I think.
Leaders, has a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to connect the German export economy
Twitch
to global
Prime, guys.
growth centers
Support
like
your favorite
the
political streamer.
Countries, Mexico or Southeast Asia. Merz recognizes that a functional Franco-German axis could create more trade agreements, more certainty for companies, and a stronger Europe. The Christian Democrat has also signalled a tougher approach towards China. Or at least he acknowledged that the German economy is too dependent on Beijing's inconveniences and demands. How hawkish Merz's approach to trade will be, however, will depend on who he ends up with as a coalition partner. The victory of Merz's Christian Democratic Union, CDU, means that Berlin will be allied on agricultural policy both with the largest political bloc in the European Parliament, the European People's Party, led by Bavarian State Councillor Manfred Weber, and with EU Agriculture Commissioner Christopher Hansen, ahead of negotiations on the future of the EU's common agricultural policy.
Was that the Finnish leader girl? I remember, man. Dude,
ahead of
like real sexism. I remember. So all the leaders of Europe have massive scandals. Wirecard, Cum-Ex, Macron is helping the rich. Everyone is fucking terrible. But this bitch, chat, she did a party with friends during Corona. How dare that woman? Get her out! Get her out instantly! How dare she, man? Wow! She had to step down instantly, bro. Fucking hell, dude.
Future of the EU's common agricultural policy. Hansen has launched a farm policy overhaul that would effectively roll back the green agenda of recent times and instead emphasize making farming a more attractive and economically viable profession. Merz's CDU said in its campaign platform that it wanted a cap that serves farmers. Scholz's centre-left government has made initiatives to support organic farming and reduce food waste.
Stop showing this guy. Let this guy be gone.
Decision a year ago to remove tax breaks on agricultural diesel. The CDU said it would reinstate the diesel tax break and take broader steps to strengthen planning security for farmers. The party said that, with the CDU, no farmer will ever again have to protest with his tractor in front of the Brandenburg Gate. Merz's chancellorship will mean that the conservative opposition will again be involved in Germany's
all of this is a lot of yapping. We will have to see what really will happen in this new German government.
Deficit spending.
That's what's going to be so interesting.
0.35%.
This is why I always talk on the stream that I'm really against single leadership anymore. The whole fucking future of Europe is in this guy's hand. No, it doesn't matter who he is. I always think things like this shouldn't be in any human's hand. It's
by many.
I always don't like this having a single leader thing, man. It's not good anymore nowadays.
Scholz's efforts to intervene in the break led to the collapse of his government, and Merz's CDU faction is strongly opposed to any reforms. Surprisingly, Merz himself hinted in a television debate earlier this month that he is open to some tweaks, but not before other solutions have been tried. Otherwise, financial markets are generally sceptical that Merz can do much to halt Germany's well-documented economic decline, with gross domestic product expected to contract by 0.5% in 2025.
To be honest though, statistically speaking, Germany has now been negatively growing for 3 years, which is unprecedented in German's history, and it would be very easy to get that plus again. He just needs 1% growth, and he already is like, hey, under me, Germany is growing again by 0.6%. And also, man, something you need to always think about, right? I think that communist YouTube channel just made a video about that. GDP and all that shit is a bit of a lie. It's a bit of bullshit, man. You know, I live in Germany, we're all doing fine. When stocks go down, when GDP doesn't grow by 0, who the fuck loses money? It's the fucking rich. They're always acting like, oh my god, the fucking stock market went down by 5%. What? So what? You can still buy bread. It's not you. It's not like you have $1 billion in stocks, bro. They always act like, oh my god, man, we're not fucking growing anymore.
The race.
I don't know. I'm 181 now. Okay, 181. I don't need to grow anymore. It's a good height. It's a good height. Ludi is 160. That little dwarf man. He still needs some growth, but I don't need to grow anymore.
Choice between the two parties' economic policies was ultimately superficial. ING global head of macro Carsten Brzezinski lamented in a note earlier this month, noting that Merz's plans for tax and spending cuts reflected an almost spiritual faith in free markets. Merz will also have a critical influence on the outcome of a major transnational banking war that could test EU ideals. When Milanese lender UniCredit made a surprise bid for Germany's Commerzbank last year,
I'm taller than most of you
fuckers,
that's the truth.
Exactly the kind of cross-border banking consolidation Mario Draghi advocated in his seminal report.
Also about Mario Draghi, if you have a euro in your hand, like a paper bill, right? Money is so important, but Mario Draghi's signature is on all your money. Any European people with EU money, man, if you have an EU thing in the top left, there is Mario Draghi's signature. And I always just feel like, should any human being sign my money? What the fuck, dude? No one should have their signature. Hey, can I get an autograph? You already have it. Check your bills, man. Like, what the fuck,
Till
dude?
Scholz's government reacted with horror and devised crazy plans to prevent it. UniCredit CEO Andrea Orchel has since said he would wait for Merz's position before making another move. But it is hard to imagine that the new leader would be more willing to give up one of the country's most valuable lenders. Merz holds the keys to significantly boosting Europe's defence capabilities in the coming years. As Trump pressures Europe to increase military spending, many in Brussels are anxiously awaiting Germany's approval for the European Commission to borrow money on behalf of member states. Over-indebted countries such as France, Italy and Spain, which have failed to meet NATO's defence.
Done now. Let's watch this now, the last Germany thing, and then we go a bit into American stuff. Trump and Elon.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Daily Show.
Last video. So, last video about Germany today. This man, I respect this man a lot. He always is under a lot of scrutiny. Always, oh, he's so evil. Long story short, this guy is the Jon Stewart of Germany. He is kind of a cabaret comedian, but he has a TV show. And that TV show is all about exposing stuff. His TV show is, he has always a topic, always something. I simp for him, yes. He always has a topic, something, and he always exposes something. He always, with jokes, right? And he was invited to the Washington Journal or New York Times to tell Americans about what's going on in Germany. I haven't seen this yet. It was very big in Germany, very big news. Let's watch it. He's very controversial in Germany. People hate him. I fucking think this guy is one of the most important Democrats in Germany. This guy is putting his head in the crossfire every week, exposing very bad stuff with good proof, with good sources. He sometimes fucks up. If you do 500 shows, that happens. But I'm a big fan of this guy. Very, very important human being. And let's take a look what he has to say here. This is very big in Germany right now, and I have no idea what he's about to say.
Guten Tag from Germany, the country that needs saving, according to Elon Musk. But don't worry, we know what we are doing. And we know who we are. We are Germans. We are good at inventing long, complicated words, and we are really cool and relaxed. But of course, there's something else we Germans were really good at: inventing Nazis. Germany may have lost 1 or 2 world wars, but we successfully turned it into a win. And we became Vergangenheitsbewältigungsweltmeister. We are world champions at confronting our history, a title we've held for 80 years in a row. We won this title by virtue signaling, but with a German twist. We are not just signaling virtue to others, but also to our own guilty conscience. Living in Germany means being constantly reminded of our past. Every day, 24/7, for now 80 years, we've been telling ourselves, never again. Remembrance of the Holocaust is everywhere in Germany, a country stacked.
I always forget this, and I'm kind of sorry. I promised you guys an RL stream 2 years ago where I walk around my neighborhood and you won't believe how many Jews died here. There's a thing in Germany where we have golden stones in the floor, on the pavement, about Jews that used to live in that building and how they died, and they're everywhere. And I want to like walk around with you guys and show you how many Jews just got killed 10 minutes away from me. And there's a lot of stories. I need to do this fucking RL stream, man. I gotta do that.
With memorials, just in case we forget to never forget.
So it's kind of crazy, man. You go shopping and you have like a cola and you look on the ground and there's a golden stone. And it's like a 6-year-old Jewish girl got abducted here and killed. It's like, whoa, okay, that happened here. It's actually a very good idea that they did these golden stones everywhere, man.
Unfortunately, never again didn't come.
Why are they golden? Jesus Christ, that's a good joke. That's a good joke. Why are they golden? Jesus fucking Christ, man. He said that to a chat, man. It's a good joke, though. It's a good joke. He literally just showed them 5 seconds ago. He did?
Remembrance of the Holocaust is everywhere in Germany, a country.
There was an attack 3 days ago where an Arab guy with a knife wanted to kill Jews, but he killed a Spanish tourist, man. Like, dude, these fucking killers are so dumb. Oh, I'm really mad. I want to kill some Jews. Ha! Wait, you're Spanish? You're Spanish Catholic? I guess I fucked up. How fucking dumb are these attackers? I remember in my home city, Halle, there was this attacker who wanted to kill Jews. He killed 2 German potato heads. The most German people ever he killed. Renate and fucking Heiko. And he's like proud. He's in prison. Oh yeah, I attacked the Jewish conglomerate. Buddy, you killed 2 Germans. And you're proud of it, you fucking maniac. These people are so fucking gone, bro. Completely fucking... Woo!
Stacked with memorials. Memorials, memorials, memorials. Just in case.
And you said he's showing the stones.
Remembrance of the Holocaust is everywhere in Germany. A country stacked with memorials. Memorials.
Yeah, that's everywhere where I live. Everywhere. It's like in this house was a Jewish family and they all got fucking killed. And it's like a reminder. It even said when they died and stuff. And dude, sometimes there's like little kids and shit. It's fucked up, dude. Very fucked up. They're everywhere. I gotta do this RL stream, man. There's a lot of history about this I want to show you.
Memorials, memorials. Just in case we forget.
I could never live in a house like that. You never know, right? This house was built in the 1900s. Someone might have died in here. You never fucking know. It's probably a good thing you don't know.
Unfortunately, never again
so German, they
didn't
recorded
come
all the data.
with a manual on how to.
Yeah, the Nazis really wrote everything down when they killed people and stuff, right? Big bureaucracy. So their war crimes were very well documented. Imagine not believing the Holocaust, man. You might as well just fucking jump off a building at that point.
Never again. Our German extreme right party, the AfD, is projected to win almost every 5th vote in our national election this February. The party is called the Alternative für Deutschland, which literally means alternative for Germany, and they will probably become the 2nd largest party in German parliament, out of around half a dozen. Here is what one of the AfD's leading figures thinks of German never again.
Wir brauchen nichts anderes als eine erinnerungspolitische Wende 180 Grad.
I know it's subtle, but AfD's Björn Höcke might sound a bit Hitleresque, which is French for slightly concerning. Höcke recently won a state election in eastern Germany, securing the first far-right win in a state election since World War II. He, by the way, can legally be called a fascist, as the German court has ruled in one case. So, should the rest of the world be worried about a big German fascist?
And that man wins elections in a state. He won the election, man. Think about that.
Comeback?
It's only 2 million people, but fucking hell.
Jawohl, aber hallo, und zwar so richtig. Yes, you should be worried. Let me explain why. And since I'm German, my explanation, of course, will be pointlessly complicated and inspiringly brutal, like our traditional German bedtime stories. For instance, the one about a boy named Konrad who wouldn't stop sucking his thumbs until they were cut.
About 3 years ago, me and Lisa bought fairy tale books, and we did this romantic thing where every night I will read a fairy tale to her. And there was a German fairy tale book, and they're so fucked up. It's always like, if you don't behave, you're gonna fucking die. We're gonna murder you. That's every German fairy tale. It's to make children scared. If you don't listen to dad, you're gonna fucking die.
Right off. Just for educational purposes, of course. So, the AfD was founded in 2013, and it primarily opposed EU policies. Then, it quickly radicalized anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, anti-migrant, anti-establishment, anti-mainstream media. The AfD worked and works the authoritarian playbook. And now they are twisting the truth by hijacking our world-renowned, beautiful German language. Vogelschiss in der Geschichte.
So what happened is their past leader, Alexander Gauland, has called Germans' Nazi history is only bird poop compared to all of German history. Which, like...
A speck of bird shit in German history. That's what one of the AfD's founders called Germany's Nazi past. Meaning the Holocaust was just a speck of bird shit in our overall successful history. Success, of course, meaning constantly losing world wars. So far. When Elon Musk, the man who would never salute Nazis, recently interviewed AfD's chairwoman Alice Weidel on X, she gave another vibrant example on how AfD mastered blatant truth-twisting.
The biggest success after that terrible era in our history was to label Adolf Hitler as right and conservative.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Fucking Jesus Christ. My point lately on the stream is very often, are we reaching a point where everyone is on the same board? Are we reaching a point where you can't argue anymore?
He was exactly the opposite. He wasn't a conservative. He wasn't a libertarian. He was a communist, socialist guy.
Why not try a 180?
And she won 20% of the votes. It's insanity. It's insanity. It's like the experiment of democracy is falling apart in front of us. This experiment isn't surviving the century.
Degree turnaround from the truth. Let's try. But these obvious little rhetorical tricks are actually effective, thanks to one special German way to cope with our past. Geschichtsvergessenheit. Geschichtsvergessenheit means actively forgetting our, let me put it this way, ambiguous past, despite the endless memorials. Because honestly, having to confront your own history can be really, really exhausting for us Germans. But Geschichtsvergessenheit is not a concept the AfD just recently invented. In 1952, for instance.
One problem, I wanna react a bit. I don't wanna just be reacting the whole time like a lazy bum. One thing I experience and see for the last maybe 5 years or something is that we have so many people doing such a great job exposing the AfD, showing what is the problem with this right-wing extremist populism. We have people in the US exposing Trump with massive proof. This is what Trump is doing. Here's the proof. Yet, no one cares. It doesn't help at all. They still win elections, they still grow, and it is a very interesting part of studying populism that these people do such a great job with very fundated sources, etc. But it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem to work, and that is really something very, very interesting, and something we need to figure out somehow. It's so interesting what's going on there, and how you can fix that, and what you can do. No one cares about these facts, bro. No one cares.
Instance, Konrad Adenauer, one of the founding fathers of our modern democratic Germany, signed a Wiedergutmachungsabkommen, a reparations agreement, yet another beautiful, accessible German word. And did you know, also a pretty common girl's name in Bavaria. There's little Wiedergutmachungsabkommen. Look at her cute blonde pigtails. Come over, Wiedergutmachungsabkommen. The Schweinebraten is ready in the oven. The Wiedergutmachungsabkommen was our post-war reparations agreement with Israel. But most modern democratic Germans have conveniently forgotten Adenauer's real motives.
Die Macht der Juden, auch heute noch, insbesondere in Amerika, soll man nicht unterschätzen. Und daher habe ich sehr überlegt.
Is that Kanye's dad, bro?
Und sehr bewusst. Und das war von jeher meine Meinung, meine ganze Kraft daran gesetzt, so gut es ging, eine Versöhnung herbeizuführen zwischen dem jüdischen Volk und dem deutschen Volk.
In other words, beware. The Jews are still powerful, even though we try to kill them all. So from now on, we better be nice to them. And then all is wieder gut again. Thank you, Konrad Adenauer. But Nazis never really went away in both Germanys. In the 2000s, a neo-Nazi terrorist group murdered at least 10 people. Their racist crimes continued for years because the German public and police could not even fathom that neo-Nazis could be responsible. Instead, they just publicly blamed immigrants for supposedly killing each other. Why are we Germans so blatantly dismissive towards the collective affection for the far right? Partly because in Germany there's a discrepancy between collective memory and individual guilt. We acknowledge our grim past, never again, yada yada yada, but our ancestors, like personally, our families, ourselves, we had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Yes, my great-grandfather was in the Waffen-SS.
Wow. Damn, I didn't know that. It's funny that some months ago we found out live on the stream that my grandpa was an evil cunt too, man. The dude was fucking burning Ukrainian civilians, man. Literally, Twitch chat showed me that day. They found information about my grandpa, man. That was crazy, dude. Fuck.
But he was a cook. And the lasagna he made in Stalingrad tasted like Schuhsohlenauflauf. So basically, he tried to destroy the Waffen-SS from within. Where's his memorial? By virtue signaling to our own guilty conscience, we got rid of our Nazi past. Germans have sworn to never again so many times that it became an empty phrase. And when a new right-wing leader calls for a 180-degree turnaround on never again, we also don't take it seriously because it somehow feels empty as well. Because no matter what we do, Germans can't be Nazis again.
I'm a Jew. I think you're trying to say you're Jew, but you're not really in grammar school. And I'm generally curious to know, do people around the world really blame us for everything that happens in Europe and the rest of the world? I'm an Israeli Jew. I think what the human race has shown for the entirety of the history is that you always look for scapegoats. You always look for someone to blame because it easily makes people rally behind you. You win elections. You see that everywhere, man, right? Immigrants, Jews, whatever. And you can really see historically, if you look at the Jews through Europe and their history, the Jews were faring better. They were better financially, they were more educated on average, and they just made better decisions, which led to them, I think, having like some of the first banks and stuff back then. And obviously people will be like, oh, that guy must be evil, right? And so you had a scapegoat, man. You always find a scapegoat. If the Jews are gone, if the immigrants are gone, they will find someone else. You always need a scapegoat to make a peasant vote for you, man. And yeah, that's kind of looking like transgenders right now with Trump, right? You always need a scapegoat to easily make the masses, Tommy's scapegoat is chat.
That's the space in which the AfD operates. They can say and do Nazi things as long as they aggressively deny
trans people control the banks.
That anyone was ever a Nazi. It's like giving the Hitler salute in front of a large crowd of right-wing extremists while denying being a Nazi.
This is... And that guy has all the data of all American taxpayers in the US Treasury data. Thank you, Manikas.
It's a narrative that seems to be successful all over the world. We aren't Nazis. We just don't fully support liberty, equality, and the rule of law. We aren't Nazis. We just want white supremacy. The AfD is not the new Nazi party. They just want Germany to be great again. And that's why now in Germany, the Kacke ist am Dampfen.
Okay. Okie dokie pokey monkey.
She slipped in my fingers like sand. Heard that she had a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, shit sail. She slipped in my fingers like sand.